So one that what I try and first do is when I film my content, I usually do it in one take. I talk through my mistakes and you'll see that these videos are very candid for me. I did cut out some of them when I got frustrated and I was like, you just and I started like getting all frustrated with things, and so I cut that good stuff out. So but you'll see me, kind of moving around, and I'm actually moving my light and I'm setting things up, especially on the second one. Um, but what I try and do is I try and have as much of a big clip as I can, and I adjust my visual first before I cut it up into pieces. Because once you do that, then you need to almost deliver to each piece sometimes. Sometimes you can apply to all clips, but not always. So I'm going to go back to the beginning here. Okay. All right. So what I first try and do is I'll show you how you can get the best picture, uh, the best color, maybe if the color, and you don't have to do, um, full colorizing of anything. It's very basic. There's only a couple things that you really need to pay attention to, like brightness, contrast, things like that that can really help. It gets much deeper, but nothing that you need to deal with initially. So what I first try and do is, at least to show you here, is I go to click off of that. I'm sorry, we'll click on that. And we want to go to, here we go. Sometimes it takes a little time, even when you know all the different buttons. So the first thing I go to here is aspect ratio. So if you've ever seen a TikTok and it seems like it's very short and it doesn't take up the full screen, it doesn't always take up the full screen because it depends on your resolution and the type of phone you have and all that. But you want to do for whether it is Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, is go to the 9:16, and it will automatically change this window to that aspect ratio. And then down here in the corner, you have a little check mark. So just check that and it's good. Sometimes you may need to resize it. And basically, that would just be getting your fingers right on there and moving it like that. That's it. So that's usually the very first thing I do. And that changes the aspect ratio of this window and all of the frames within it. So you don't have to go to each one. But I like to do that right from the beginning. So then I will go to, you have video quality. If I want to ensure, again, this is a pro feature and it's not needed as long if you're using your regular camera to film. But if you go to image quality, it'll just make sure that it's an HD picture. So when you export it, you're getting the best quality picture. There's some other ones here too, but the one that I usually use is image quality. And then the one I want to go here to is adjust. Now there is an auto adjust. So basically, if we look at our picture there, we click auto, it will kind of brighten it up there. Now that may not be what you're looking for. Down at the bottom here, you have an intensity meter. And you can see how that changes that. But I'm going to just, here, I'm going to hit reset. We'll just undo that. And then you also notice this button down here that says apply to all. So again, in this one, I have 8 or 9 different clips. I don't want to have to do this on each one. So it does give the ability to apply to all. So that's a big help. So with this one, the ones that you usually want to be uh, concerned with, I guess, if you want to do any sort of image adjustments, is brightness, contrast. You have shadows, which that will you kind of darken things up and almost define it a little bit more. And temperature, that will make it, warm or cold. And those are the important ones really to look at. If you notice it's too bright, you can come over to contrast. You can darken it up a little bit, depending on the lighting that you have. And so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to darken it a little bit there.
Are you using a pro version?
I am, and I'm going to try
Okay.
and not use the pro features. I'm going to try and keep it within the free features. So, so you know, because over here, there's some pro features here that are really cool that I use a lot of times, and it helps keep I guess, a theme between all your videos. There's also a way, like a more advanced way called a LUT, which is like a pre-programmed color program that you could just download right into it, and it makes it the same colors all the time. So, the other thing I try and do is uh, sharpen right here. Gives you a little bit better, sharper picture. So without doing the auto adjust or without doing like an HD picture, even just doing sharpen just a little bit will help. And now I'll just do apply to all. I think that color looks, pretty good for me the way it is.